Hey everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you two ways that I secure these large floor-to-ceiling acoustic modules to the wall. The first system is super easy, couldn't be more simple. We're just going to use a single drywall anchor. I'll show you how I do that. The second system is a little bit more advanced, but still very rudimentary, no previous carpentry experience necessary. And I'm going to show you how to create an air gap behind these panels to improve their acoustic performance, especially in the low end. Now, if you haven't seen my videos yet on how to build these panels and wrap them, this video is part of a series that includes those. I'll drop the link to those videos right below so you can check them out. And if you've watched them already, then let's get into it. So imagine this is the top plate of your acoustic module. The first step we're going to do is to install two of these plastic cable clips. These are available at almost any hardware store. I've pre-drilled a couple holes for them. And because the top plate is 3/4 of an inch thick, we're going to use 3/4 Robertson head number 8 screws. I like using two cable clips here just because redundancy. You know, if one of them breaks, two is one and one is none. Next, you're going to take a zip tie. This doesn't need to be super heavy duty here. Again, it's not carrying a lot of load. The panel is resting its load on the floor. So here, I think this is a 14-inch one. You know, just make sure you have enough space to be able to secure it and have a bit of extra room. Now, once you've got that part done, this system is going to be using a single drywall anchor. So these are the ones that I like. They have a chisel tip on the end and they're self-starting, so you don't need to pre-drill. You do just need to make sure that wherever you're drilling into that there isn't a stud behind the wall, okay? If you try and drill one of these into a stud, it's just going to fail. It's going to destroy itself. And then I'm going to use these special hooks. These are picture frame hooks, I think, and I just like them because they are pretty heavy duty and they'll screw into a drywall anchor, and then they have these little clips on them. So if you want to release the mounting strap later, you can. So let's imagine that this is a wall and that we've put the drywall anchor in. You can start just by threading in the hook, and where you want to end up is with the hook facing upwards. Okay, just like that. And then literally all you do is you bring your panel close enough to the wall to drop in and clip in the zip tie. And then you can tighten up the zip tie however much you want. And the thing I like about this system is if you ever want to move your panel away from the wall, no problem. You can just unclip. So I really only recommend using that drywall anchor system and putting your panels right up against the wall if you just cannot afford to lose any interior room volume in your space. But you're going to get substantial increases in performance if you air gap your modules. Now, I did a whole video on air gapping, the advantages and all of that. If you didn't catch that, it is part of this series, and I will drop a link below the video in case you didn't see it. So we're going to go inside of Sketchup now, where I did a little model, a mock-up of how I actually air gap these panels. So let's take a look. So there you can see the front of the module. And if we just rotate around, you can see there is the airspace. And this is actually how I have them mounted in this studio. I figured I could put them about 6 inches away from the wall. That was kind of the amount of space in the room I was willing to lose. Would they perform better with a larger airspace? Yes, but this was a comfortable amount that I could put them into the room. So let's just go ahead and actually hide this module. And that way we'll be able to see in behind it and see the mounting system. So let's actually start with the floor because it's easier. These are just two 2x4 offcuts. That's all these are. These aren't screwed into the wall. These are not mounted into the floor. They're loose and they're just at the outside edges of the module. There's two of them and they just press into the bottom plate. And these are literally just a 6-inch offcut of 2x4s. So that couldn't be easier. And then if we go up to the top of the frame, this is where you see the actual mounting system. So what this is this is a 2x2. So it's 2x2 dimensional lumber. Technically it is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And I've cut it to exactly 4 feet wide, the same width as the module. And the reason for that is so that I can drill it into the studs. So you can see this wall has the studs that are 16 inches on center, and I wanted something that would span a few of those studs so that I could put screws in. So I used 3-inch construction screws to go into each one of these locations. I used a stud finder to be able to find these studs. Once you find one, it's most likely that your wall is also 16 inches on center. So once you find one of the studs, you can measure over 16 inches and 16 inches to be able to find your spot. And once that's mounted and it's nice and level, you want to leave enough space to put a 2x4 offcut on top. So this is another 6-inch 2x4 piece, just like the ones on the bottom, and there's 2 of them. And I have screwed those in using a construction screw into the 2x2. So that's how it's secured. And then this contacts the top of the module. And you can see it sits flush. Here is the top plate of the module, and it's key that this is pushing against the top plate of the module. So this is completely flush, and that's how you'll measure them. So you measure the top of your module, and then you measure where the top of this assembly is, and you make sure that they are flush with each other. Okay, and then there's, I just put a screw here, but this is a mounting system I'm actually gonna show you back in the real world in just a sec here. So that will create a very nice air gap in your module, and that's how you do it. And if you want your air gap to be larger or smaller, all you do is you cut these 2x4 pieces to be longer or shorter. So easy peasy. So now let's take a quick look at how to secure the module with the air gap framing. So we're gonna pretend that this 2x4 is that 6-inch piece that we had cut that's sitting at the top, flush with the top plate of the module. And we're going to use that same system using the cable clips and the zip tie. So we're going to assume that that's already in place. And I'm just going to secure in one of those same clips that we used in the first example. So again, I think these are picture hanging clips. I just got these at Home Depot. Nice. So when you have that all screwed in, you want the clip to be facing towards your wall and away from the module. And then you just simply take your zip tie and clip it in, and then you can tighten it up a little bit to make sure everything is snug, and that will hold it nicely in place. So if we take a look back at the SketchUp model, then this is the place where you're going to be running that system, and you need to duplicate it on both sides. So make sure you do both sides, and then you're off to the races. And there you have it. 2 super easy mounting systems to be able to secure your acoustic modules to the wall. If you have the space, I do highly recommend that you use the air gapping system. That's just going to do a lot for the low end performance of these panels, and that is usually the area in your room that is going to be the most problematic. So any little gains you can get in that area are going to be super useful. This video and many more like it are part of my free acoustics class back at Warp Academy. Come and sign up for free, and you'll be able to get access to a full curriculum on acoustics that will help you to level up your studio. We cover everything from how to choose the right studio monitors, how to configure and set up your room and optimize your monitor placement, how to build acoustic treatment and then optimize its location in the room, how to do acoustic testing, how to interpret the data that you get from acoustic testing, some really next level room plans if you want to spend a little bit more money on leveling up your acoustics, and then finally, how to add a little extra layer, that final 10% sheen using Room EQ. So this is a free course back at Warp Academy. You can sign up with just an email address. Definitely come back and grab that, and I'll see you there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, drop me a comment, let me know what you thought, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. That's all for now. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.